Okay, so today we're going to talk about doing a couple of different methods for small fixes on an image. So say you get an image like this one right here, and you like everything except that word, freedom in the corner, right? Maybe it doubled it, maybe it did something weird, who knows. So what we're going to do is click on this little wrench and paint brush thing here. Yeah, very technical terms, right? But that's the first thing we're going to do, and it'll bring up this. The main tool we are going to go with today, because it's the one I use pretty much exclusively, is the paint tool. So right here, you can see where it says paint, okay? And what you can do is you pick the color you want, right? So say right here, because you want to delete this word freedom, and then you take the pixel part over here, the little paintbrush, right there. I'm not very good at sound effects, or I would make little noises for you guys. So the paintbrush, you can select that, or you can pick these other options. And then you can pick the size. So what you're going to do, like in this case, because that's a pretty small area, is I would probably drop it down to maybe like 17 pixels. You can see how big it is, the paintbrush right there. So maybe a little bit bigger, 32. And then we just come over here and click, and we can erase it. Right there. And if you wanted a slightly different color, you can come over here and pick maybe some of that white chalky line right there, and you can do that. Or if you really want it to be exactly the same, you can come up here and go to clone. Okay. And when you click on clone, we're going to make it a lot smaller, like 19. Then you can select where you want it to clone. So like origin, okay, and then we have our shape pick, okay. So then you just pick where you want the clone source to be, where if you forget, there you go, it says right here, Alt and click clone source, okay. So then what we're going to do is hit Alt, click the clone source, okay, so that's, we want it to look like that part of the chalkboard. And then we're going to go ahead and let Alt go, and then we can just go ahead and see how it's kind of changing it subtly, so it matches the chalkboard a little bit better. Oops, I got it down on the desk there. So the clone source was a little bit too far, but you can see where it'll take the clone source and then it puts it where you want it to go. So escape and save changes. Okay. Or you can go back to the clone and pick a better area closer, so like right here, and then you can go in and do that same thing. You can kind of see where it's subtly changing the black, and you can erase stuff that way. So, and you can make it bigger, the pixel size bigger, so if you want to erase a larger area quicker, you can do that. But with the clone source, you have to really watch where it's coming from. So that's one of the reasons that I really prefer the paint over clone, because with paint you can select all the little pieces, right? So this big magnifying glass is showing you the color you're selecting. So like right here, if I want to select this, that white color right there, and then say I want to add something, I can come over here and I can scroll in and zoom, and then like I could add more details right here. So I could pick this yellow color, and then I could take maybe a 12 pixel size, right? And then I could add in Oops, there we go. All right, so there's that. So then I can add in these little pixels in that yellow color. So what it'll do is it'll do that. We'll come up here, we'll just make it a lot bigger so that you guys can see the opacity. There we go. Okay, so right here, you just select this. You have it on 26 pixels, and then you can add in more details. That's kind of excessive, but you can always hit Control Z, and then that drops everything that you just did away, just like it does on normal stuff. You can change the pixel size right here. Maybe you want to add a little squiggle up here at the top, who knows, right? Control Z. If you don't want to, you can also save new. So say you did a bunch of squiggly work right here that you really like, you can save new, and then it gives you another copy of that image with your squiggle work in there. See? So that's just kind of the basic editing tools. The other thing you can do is add text. So let's go over adding text real quick as well. So we go to add text. This is useful for when you need to do ad creatives. So then, for example, okay, we're just going to come up here and go to text, or the T, and then text frame. And so this is our text frame right here. So we can move it around, drag it just like you would anything else. We can change the background of the text frame down here, so we can give it a background, right? We can choose the background color. And then we can, oops, there we go. Okay, so right here, you can select the background color. So let's go with, I don't know, this bright green color. How about that? Okay. Oops. I didn't actually select it, so there we go. There's that. And then that one's the one we want. We're going to go with this changes the opacity, so you can see the background change right up here. When we select it, we're going to go OK. Then you can do the same thing for your text color. We're just going to go with pink because it's very visible, right? You can change the opacity of the pink, and you can change the intensity there. Okay, we're going to go OK. Now then we also can pick the text type. So in the other one, we decided we liked rowdies, right? So we're just going to go with rowdies text. So it changes the text, and that gets you your background color if you want one. You can do a gradient if you want one. In here, you can kind of see it switch, like the text goes gradient. See? There's that option. You can change the size of the text. You can change, you know, whether it's 10-point font or 40-point font or 60-point font, whatever you want to do. So that gives you your font size. It gives you your centering location if you want to, bold or not. And then, of course, you can come in here and just edit what it says. So edit text. So if you're doing add text or something, you can come in here and just change one word each time. And then that makes it a little bit easier to make multiple ad creatives all at once. So those are just the basic edits. I said you can go through just kind of a recap. This lets you add specific text and edit it, and then choose background on the text if you want to. And then if you want to go back to the main window for generate, you would just use that paintbrush and little wrench button. And really most of the tools that you are going to use are going to be right under the paint option, and that's going to let you pick a color and erase weird like things like repeat words, extra ears, extra fingers, whatever you need to do, and then replace the pixels with the color you want them to be. So paint palette with the wrench, paint tool takes care of all the weird little flaws. Edit text or add text up here at the top. So add text at the top. That's going to let you make your own text on the image without ever leaving Wando, and just change out different words for add creatives or add whatever text you want to there. Thank you for joining us today, and next time we will learn about batch creation.